think like it doesn't have to be too complicated. I think each of these things is just like a test of his personality to see if he can become the monk that this guy wants him to be. So let's detail those. Maharib's training montage. To become Hashim's successor and to learn the way of the monk, Maharib must pass 3 tests put forth by his master. Each test will prove whether he is worthy of the mantle or not. After the 3 tests, he must undergo a sacred ritual called the Burden of Knowing, in which the master's final knowledge is passed along as he learned from his master, and so on, right? It's basically like drinking the water of life, where it's like it opens your mind to the Goliath collective unconscious. Yeah. The cell needs a bunch of pots filled with sand. Yeah, and they'll find things in the cell to practice on, right? Like, stop trying to hit me. And so the 2 of them will fight, and like the master can only defend himself. He can't fight back, right? Yeah, exactly. The ancestors. So this will open Maharib's 3rd eye and let him see within where his genetic memory of being a giant lives. Yeah. Okay, cool. So if the training is completed, Hashim will die, passing along the art and skill he learned in life, as well as activating Maharib's. We need a cool name for this, like inner eye, eye that looks within. Is there a monk ability that has a cool name that we can say is activated here? His unclouded eye. Oh, I like that. His unclouded inner eye, which will allow him to see backwards through the genetic history of the giants to a time before time when they defended this world from threats from beyond the stars. I can't remember what we called it. The outer worlds or whatever. Yeah. So I had this quote going on in my head. This idea of Goliath. Let me write this. Let me write this down. So Goliath is a human word that means enormous and is usually used to put us in our place. Did you know? Right? But they do not know its origins. In the tongue of old giant, which you will come to learn, my student, Goliath means watchers of the gate. Yeah. Yeah, kind of like the Animus in Assassin's Creed. Like, yeah, like our name comes from the ancient giant, meaning watchers of the gate. And so I guess the important stuff here is like, while Maharib is training with Hashim, we're also learning secrets in the stories he tells about the giants, the Goliath, and their purpose. The Outer Dark. That's what we called it. Yeah. So yeah, these threats from the Outer Dark. So let's make a few notes about that. Giant lore. Okay, so all right, here we go. So what I guess giants are split in modern times into several elemental and other, are they phenotypes? Like, giants are split in modern times into several elemental and other types. Trolls, giants, or trolls, hill giants, mountain giants, frost, fire, etc. Goliaths and trollkin are both subspecies as well. Originally, giants were a single species, not native to the world. Pilgrims who came here from somewhere else on a sacred mission. They're actually a little bit like ogres in Zweihander. Yeah, okay. On a sacred mission, they had seen the future of the world, a place of great power, great magical power and beauty, brought low by the ravenous entities of the outer darkness. Yeah, they're exactly astral giants, right? Brought low by the ravenous entities of the outer darkness and came to protect not what was, but what would be. They fought against these creatures, killing those they could, banishing others, and binding others still in ancient ruins deep beneath the earth. We've seen one of these, right? The Gug, the thing they turned into a sloth. Remember that during the cult arc? Yeah, with the bell. So the bell, yeah, exactly. The bell is an artifact of those that worship. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so they fought against these creatures, killing those they could, banishing others, and binding others still in ancient ruins deep beneath the earth. The price they paid for this victory was their own existence. Their magical lineage corrupted by darkness, and over the millennia, they would fall from grace, becoming the giants and giantkin we know of today. Buried in their genetic material is an impulse to protect and defend, as well as a loathing of the creatures of the outer darkness, a sort of Manchurian candidate situation where the various bloodlines might be recalled, awakened in a time of need. All giants carry this connection somewhere within them. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So this shit happened a really, really long time ago, right? Like if the timeline is like now, right? And then like the beginning of time, and then now, all this giant shit happened like back here, right? Giants, and then, you know, heaven, And then this has been 10,000 years. It's like way the fuck back at the beginning of time, pretty much. Back when the world was vulnerable, right? It was fresh and new, and it was basically just the fountain growing the world around it. So I think back in that time, in prehistory, the world was visited by creatures like this. But yeah, like they would have been like a civilization adjacent to like the Farang, basically. The giants and the Farang might have interacted if they'd ever like come in contact with each other. Yeah. Is heaven built on the ruins of old giant civilization? No, the heaven was crafted out of fountain energy, right? Yeah. Cool. All right. So yeah, this is stuff that Maharib can learn about that, right? The threat has been expunged, but not all the creatures, not all the, I don't know what to call them, but like the shadow gods, basically, not all the giant's enemies were killed. Some still lurk in that darkness, whispering in their sleep. So for anybody who is curious, you remember our very, very first warlock? Do you remember that? That warlock, JP's character, the fallen Aasimar, was one of these whispering creatures, right? Yeah. One of those things was what was giving that character power. Yeah, we haven't really seen much of it, but here and there I've been dropping little hints, little bits and pieces. Now, if we go back to the very excellent Shitty Adam Coble drawing of the world. Welcome back. Hello. Right here. Right? Hey, look at this. I even made this fucking thing already. Yeah. Cool. So actually, I guess then this shit, let's move this shit a little, but yeah. Cool. There you go. So yeah, the outer chaos, that's this thing. We're starting to learn a little bit about what exists outside the world. Jesus. These diagrams. Cool. Okay. So I think I'm pretty much ready for the one shot. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. It's a fight, which either will happen at the end of the one shot or during the next episode. But basically, it's just like fun kung fu stuff, fun Goliath lore. It's the Goliath one shot. Yeah. Okay, so that's good. That's ready. Let's talk about what else is going on, right? Meanwhile, oh yeah, right. I got to figure out the specific tests, I guess. So, let's see here. What do we call them? Endurance, speed, and patience. They need cool kung fu names. Endurance. Wind strikes the mountainside. Speed. These are basically just exalted charm names that I'm making up here. All right. First, you must undertake wind strikes the mountainside. Bah, bah, bah. And like, yeah, okay. It's basically the test of mind, body, and spirit, right? So it's body, mind, and spirit in this way, right? Okay. So this test is called the suffering of a mother with 10,000 children. Hashim just made these up. Yeah. There's definitely going to be a point where he's like, yes, first you must undergo the test of being slapped in the face like an idiot. Blah. Okay, so the test of mind. This one is and I want them to be like a little bit like wind strikes the mountainside, suffering of a mother with 10,000 children. Mind is something about quick thinking. Something about like telling your stories before you die, right? Which is what he's doing. Yeah, I kind of like the... There you go. Death is my best friend and I go everywhere with him. Because we carry death on our... Death is with us all the time from when we were born until when we finally join them in dying. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about mechanisms for these tests. Because I could see these being skill challenges and I want them to be difficult for the fighter version, but relatively easy for the other version. So in this case, I think the test of body is... And they have to be able to be performed by people in a cell. So, something about like exhaustion, right? Resisting exhaustion. So, the old monk, who himself doesn't need to sleep. He's got some kind of thing. Okay, yeah, here we go. So Hashim, the old monk, who doesn't himself need to sleep, refuses to allow Maharib to sleep himself. Every day, Hashim rudely awakens Maharib. Every time he nods off. If Maharib can survive without rest, I think something, because I want it, I mean, it takes time to get exhaustion, but basically, I want him to just keep taking levels of exhaustion. Yeah. Okay, if Maharib can last, the montage is going to spend more than a week. I think it's got to be like, everything's got to be sped up, but something like this. Yeah, like you suffer exhaustion over and over. And then maybe Maharib die. If you have to die of exhaustion and then he brings you back. Yeah, so in a way it's faith as well. Yeah. Maharib, the intention is that Maharib push himself to the point of death, and then Hashim brings him back. Is there a chance he fails the test and just fails to become a monk? I don't think so. You need 6 levels of exhaustion, and normally it would be over time. But yeah, I like the idea that the saving throws, mechanically, this is a series of wisdom saves to stay awake, right? Yeah, and there's no food or drink, doubles the exhaustion. Yeah. So this idea is it's got to be, it's a series of tests, like, because he stays awake and the master wants to make sure he stays that way and he needs to make saving throws. I wanted to culminate in a roll, but he's got to be able to try it again. Something like that, yeah. Yeah, of like increasingly difficult wisdom saves, maybe, to endure. Which feels more like the mind test, like mind over body, right? Let's make this the mind test, yeah. Okay, so let's call it Death is my best friend and he is waiting for me. Yeah. And then body is the punching. Yeah, exactly. Wind strikes the mountainside because the wind always goes away. Yeah, okay. So mechanically, it's a series of increasingly difficult wisdom saves to endure. Let me see. So wisdom saves for him because he's basically trying to retrain himself. So he's got a wisdom -1. Jesus Christ. Okay. So we'll go increasingly difficult wisdom saves to endure. I don't think he took... Yeah, he's got some fighter abilities that he can use to re-roll the saves. He's got resilient, right? Oh, he took resilience, but I can't remember what. Yeah, it was wisdom save. Yeah, he's got a +4. Okay. All right, yeah. So let's take a look at that. So DC 10. He's going to have disadvantage pretty quickly, right? So 10 for the first one, 12, 14, 16, 20, like that. But the problem is he'll have disadvantage, so that 20 is going to be really tricky. So maybe we just do 14, 16, 18 like that. I don't want it to be boring is the point, right? Like I want it to be there's a risk of failure. Yeah, at each level, it takes a level of exhaustion. If he can endure the entire thing, he passes the test. Yeah, he's making them throughout the montage. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So that's that one. And I can adjust it as we go. If you can't make all of them, he starts over, right? He's got to go back to the beginning. Okay. And then wind strikes the mountainside. He has to fight a wall, right? Fight this wall. He's like, what? I'm like, fight the wall, kill it. The wall is your enemy. The wall is, I don't know. Who do you hate? It's the wall. Go fight him for me. Fight the wall. Right? And so I think it's literally, he has to bare knuckle, like, defeat a wall. Yeah. And the idea here is to show, yeah, be like the wind striking the mountainside. And the test here is that it's a bit of a gotcha. So the test isn't about breaking the wall. It's realizing the strength of the wind. When Maharib realizes that and tells his master the test cannot be passed, it is passed. Oh, that is some fucking Zen riddle shit. Oh my God. Like it's impossible, right? Fight the wall. Show me that you are strong. Defeat it. And eventually he's like, wait. When the wind strikes the mountainside, the wind breaks. The wind is what like, yeah, this is impossible. Yeah, and it tests his patience and yeah, I like that one. And then the spirit test, right? And we had talked about this being, we have a kind of a patience one. What? Yeah, it's Maharib's obsessed with like victory and winning, right? Okay, and then what tests his spirit? This is a inner calm, right? Peace amidst chaos. Oh, here we go. So Maharib is given a complicated poem to recite. He must do so without flinching, faltering, or missing a syllable. All the while, Hashim abuses him verbally, emotionally, and physically. Yeah, so you have to recite this poem while your master whips the shit out of you, and you can't stumble or miss you can't miss a test. So what's the test here? Like what ability? Like they're concentration checks, I guess. But the problem is he's really, really good at that already. I want it to be something he's not good at. And we already have wisdom saves. Like concentration checks makes the most sense. I think there's already a mechanism for it. Yeah, an intelligence save might work too, but a monk isn't going to be good at that either. All right. You know what? There's no clear answer to this one. Let's let JP figure it out. Yeah. So he could say, I just grip my teeth and I hold on to it. Or he might say, I dodge, right? So like Hashim comes at you with a fist and you're like, whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm reading this poem. Stop trying to punch me. Yeah. Or I block or whatever, right? Like I'll let him decide. So what he'll do is he'll say, I guess first there's learning right? He's got to like learn the poem and then perform the poem. Yeah. And then he's got to tell me, he tells me how he figures is the right way to do it. And the thing with like JP is that I think he's a good enough role player to know that if he does it like Maharib initially, then he'll fail, right? And so we'll see. I'm gonna there'll be some back and forth, and I'm curious to see how it is. No, the poem is it's like an instructional. He's gonna learn lore from memorizing the poem. It's an ancient giant poem. Yeah, to help him learn that. And then eventually he's gotta go and do the trial of blood. Fun. Oh, that's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. All right, let me copy this over. This is going to be a fun episode. Can you make a real poem? I really don't have the like creative juice to come up with like a really good, cool, long poem. Maybe I'll just send him an old English version of Beowulf. Quait, we gardena in Gergaum, Theodinga trim gefrunon. Hu tha eithlings elen fremden, oft skilled skefing skethna, thretum. Like, recite this poem while the master beats the living shit out of you. You know what? I'll put it in a handout. God, if we get there, and this is going to be great. You're going to know this in advance. I'll make a handout and I'll call it the master's poem and be like, yeah, go ahead, JP. Just read that out loud. Watch the look on his face when he opens that handout. I think it's going to be a priceless moment. Okay, so the master's poem, and I will give it to JP eventually. There you go, man. Wait. Oh man, this is gonna be fun. All right, so there's the master's poem. I've got that down. And then I think the burden of knowing is the final, like, I give you the giant stuff. I think we're good. I think that's fine. Cool. All right, let me make, I gotta make one more note here about, yeah, here we go. The burden of knowing. The final and full truth of the giant bloodline is revealed to Maharib. From here forward, he will be able to reach inward and ask his ancestors for knowledge and help. To do so will require a meditation ritual and time. Yeah. Cool. What if he reads it all out? I mean, I guess he could. Yeah, do we have the word Beowulf in the poem anywhere? Yeah, then he wins. Yeah, let me search. Let's see. Do we see? Ugh, there's Beowulf. Okay, let's change this to. It's a self-insert. It's just a poem about him. I'm sure we've missed a Beowulf or two, but that's okay. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Actually, I do. It's pronounced. There you go. Okay. It's a self-insert fanfic about himself. Perfect. Yeah, Roll20 does allow Control F, but you have to pop it out, which I did not do. But that's fine. Okay. All right. Thank you, Beowulf. I think that's that here. Now let's, just because I'm doing it and because I'm kind of in the midst of this stuff, let's take a quick look at what, we got like 20 minutes. Let's take a look at what's ahead of us. So, hey, happy anniversary, Rotsachel. Okay, so what is, meanwhile, ... Okay, here we go. JP is making Maharib into a monk, and we're going to let him just reassign his stats. He's basically making a new character that's still Maharib. Because it's boring being forced to play a character you don't want to play anymore. And I'm sure in the post-show, JP will talk more about that change. Whether it's the post-show for this session or the next one when he gets reunited with everybody and he's like badass Avatar Maharib. Okay, so meanwhile, here's the major shit that's going on. So KU and Kita, all right? So KU, leader of the Bloody Talon, and Kita, a warrior of the Embers, are both in the hands of Gravedirt, who seems to be on an intelligence gathering bender. There we go. Okay. And then also, what else is going on here? We got, Vani. Oh, and this is a spoiler for the end of the last episode. Vani has become possessed by, and what was the name I gave this guy? Vagon. There is no Vani, only Vagon, the cleansing flame. An empowering and martial aspect of Imix. She invited, yeah, you want to know some stuff? So, she invited Vagon in by sacrificing the dwindling spark of Jai. Vagon has made Vani very powerful. So, when Berg said that was a stupid thing to do? She gave Jai to Imix, and in exchange, Imix said, "This is my son, Vagon. He will empower you." And whoop, just like threw him in. And so Vani and Vagon are like one entity now. So now she's like, just for now, she can get rid of him later. But for now, she's like, yeah, Yeah, let's see Ramus. Now she's ready to confront Ramus, right? She's donned the cloak of Vagon's power, and now she feels comfortable or confident confronting this guy who's spreading his weird religion. Yeah, she doesn't like Ramus at all. So that's what's going on with her. What else is happening? Bahath is getting impatient. Loom is getting impatient. Yeah, it's pretty bad stuff. Yeah. Yeah. There's some pretty Brad stuff. Yeah. There's a Planescape book, and actually, I wonder if give me a second. I wonder if they have it on drive-thru. There's a book called The Inner Planes, and I want to get the PDF for it because it has information about. Yeah, here we go. How much is it? $10. Oh man. So it has information on the, it's a Planescape book from 2nd edition, and it has information on the inner planes with like lightning and ice and ooze and stuff. Yeah, so there's apparently some good information here that I kind of want to use to inform the primordials, right? In the game. So yeah, I think I might take a flip through this. Oh yeah, there's an ooze primordial for sure, right? We actually just defined a new one in this episode, right? Where is it? The ice primordial. Where the hell did I put it? Zaman-Ral. Yeah. So Zaman-Ral is another primordial, the primordial ice. That's why we have this veil of Zaman-Ral. Yeah, Zaman-Ral and Imix don't get along. I mean, I guess here, let's just as a bit of a fun lore thing, let's make another new document here. Can I just go file new? No, I can't. Great. Okay. Let's talk about the arch elementals of the Court of Swords. So, who do we know? We know Imix the Fire Lord. Right? We have what's his name? That the big guy, the Mountain Destroyer. What the hell was that guy's name? Who's a big Bhavati, that's right. Maru Bhavati, the mountain what walks. Yeah, he's like wandering around in the desert now, just like looking for shit to fuck up. Okay, so Imix the Fire Lord, Maru Bhavati. We have the Night Serpent, right? Praise Dendar. We got the Night Serpent. That's a primordial in this campaign. What were the two from the like primordial arc? So why isn't this giving me like, there we go. Remember there was the river and the other one? Yeah, I'll have to go back and look into that. Yeah, and there was like a forest one. We don't know if they're still around, but these three definitely are. And then there's Zaman-Ral. Emperor of Ice. And then I think that's all the primordials we've had confirmation. But yeah, there are definitely like I think these ones are all God, I don't know if Maru Bhavati serves another. I think Maru Bhavati is a big monster, but not the Earth like. So in D&D, there are demons and there are demon princes. There are angels and there are archangels. I think there's another name for the elemental, archomental. Yeah, archomentals, exemplary beings of the elemental planes, comparable to archfey and celestial paragons. Yeah, archomental. So that's what Imix is. Imix is the archomental of fire. Zaman-Ral is the archomental of ice. Maharib serves, who's probably like a Gaia figure, right? Like the Earth Mother. Maharib is her like child. And then we know that Imix has Agni, Forge Mistress, and then we know of Novum. We don't know what Novum's deal is, though, what aspect of fire he is. There's also a Hearth Keeper. Right? The Hearth Keeper, whose name I wrote down some time ago. Let me see if I can find it. Novum is the party spirit. Yeah. Yeah, that was a while back, hey. Like the previous to the live show, I think. I'm just looking through my notes. Oh, it's Imix. So the ignition stuff. Yeah, I can't remember. There's somebody, the Hearth Keeper. It's in my notes. Okay, and then we also have now Vagon, the cleansing, right? And they're all splinters of Imix. That's all the ones we know so far, right? Zaman-Ral, we got the Night Serpent, we got Earth Archomental. There's Deep King Zark. That's right. Yeah, I think Zark goes under down here somewhere, yeah. And it was like Zark, I think, like that. So many diagrams today. Oh, and Bahath, obviously. Bahath, Flame Dragon. And Bahath is just a dragon, so probably serves another aspect of Imix. Oh, you know what? Vani's going to make a power play. I think that Bahath is a servant of Vagon. So they're going to find pretty quickly that Bahath, suddenly things flip, and now Bahath is kneeling to Vani. They're going to have a confrontation. Oh, that's good. That's really good. Okay, let's do that. So let's make a quick listing. So Vani comes to terms with her new power. Vani confronts Bahath, defeating them and taking control of the embers. Vani, Awut confronts Vani. Maybe it doesn't go great for him. And then, let's see. Vani confronts Ramus Krill. Ooh, maybe she learns. Vani learns about, the Geas. I was just trying to help him. Yeah, sure, Ramus. Yeah, cool. Okay. That's great. So, yeah, if we continue on this path, there's also the Storm Archomental, right? And then, well, I would agree to the Geas, but it's her, like, it's her ability to notice it. And it's about the violation, not about the spell, right? Vani's a little unstable right now. Yeah, the Storm Archamental, and then obviously we have Loom. And then I think technically Dragon Kalimat, right? And they both have somebody that they report to. Has Kalimat been born yet? I don't think so. That's a big like end of the game kind of thing, right? Somebody once said like they want to see a big battle between like a corrupted Kalimat and like, yeah. Who was that guy that made Kalimat a dragon? No, he wasn't a primordial. It's just that dragons are part of the primordial like art like structure, but lots of them do other things, right? So Kalimat is a storm dragon and technically falls under this aspect, and he doesn't belong in this diagram. We also have Big King Tao Ti. He's heaven, and I mean, I guess we could make a really big map of all the gods we've ever encountered and how they connect to each other, but that's something for a whole separate stream, though that would be pretty badass. We would need our continuity editor. We need our historian in chat. I can't do it without him. It does take a while. Yeah. Okay. So Big King Tao Ti is a heaven god and is responsible for Draco Kalimat, but is not technically technically he's a storm aspect, but he's also like a rebel. Because a rebel primordial because he belongs to heaven's situation. That's right. Yeah, Twilight Borealis is our current historian. Why can't I make this? Is it because it's too big? God damn it. Make the line up. There we go. Okay. And then we've got, do we know any other dragons we've seen? There was a bronze dragon. Yep. Yeah. But I think this is kind of where the primordial structure is right now. Obviously, there are other archamentals, right? So there's one for each of the various inner kind of worlds, right? There's I think the Night Serpent, like as far as elements go, there are more than you think, right? There's fire, earth, water, and air archamentals, but there's also all of the other complex inner planes diagram stuff. I wonder if the preview has the diagram in it. It does. Yeah. So, you know what? Here, I'm going to buy this so I can show you that. Hang on. I think I just have some credits kicking around. I want to buy it anyway. One fun thing that we get from drive-thru, like as a publisher, is that they put your, oh, that's cool. Delve is the top bestseller in the hot items right now. So one thing that we do is that when you get paid in drive-thru, it starts as credit, like store credit, and then you convert it into money. So I always have like a little bit of store credit just kind of kicking around for drive-thru, which is both fun and also like I impulse buy $10 books all the time. So I'm like, oh, it's not real money, not yet. Okay, let's log back in here. Sorry, I had to reset my password. Okay. No, so it's not like there's no deduction. Like it doesn't cost. It's not like I lose money. It's just it puts it in credit first. Because I think a lot of publishers actually do it that way. I think a lot of publishers they just use their money to buy other RPGs, right? Same money rolls through the system. Yeah, I definitely don't. I don't mind. It's nice having the credit. Okay, sorry, I'm just doing account stuff. So let me search for that again and I'll buy it. I wonder if there's like a big Planescape, like a pack. Can I just buy all the Planescape books? I did that with Exalted. I bought all of Exalted first edition. Some of the PDFs are better than others. Yes, yeah, it is technically a tax deduction either way. So, okay, what was that book called? The Inner Planes? Yeah, the Inner Planes. There we go. All right. Yeah, right. It's like a nice little, if you leave it and you forget about it, it's a nice little like side bank account where you're like, oh yeah, look, I have a little bit of like extra money just like hanging out in my account credit. Yeah, thankfully it's really easy and really fast to withdraw, so it's not like corporate script where you're like, oh man, I can only buy shovels from the corporate store because I don't have any real money. I just have drive-through money. No, I mean, I think you're right. But I kind of personally, I kind of like it because it works with the way that I buy games. I like being able to not have to spend money, even though that's what I'm doing. Okay. All right. So we download the PDF. Let me pop it open here. Inner Planes. Oh, Planescape. You are so weird and cool. All right. So excuse me. Okay. So here we go. The Inner Planes. So there are arc elementals. You could kind of, if you wanted to, remember, first of all, the cosmology of Court of Swords is different, but influenced by D&D's cosmology. So you could maybe, if you wanted to think of positive energy and negative energy as being the fountain and the void, there is definitely fire, water, air, earth, right? But there's also smoke, ice, steam, salt, radiance, ash, dust, and then there's another separate set with like ooze and some other stuff in it as well. Yeah, mineral, radiance, steam, and lightning, ash, dust, salt, and vacuum. I got a vacuum primordial. That's pretty sick. Yeah, so there will be primordials for all of this stuff. Yeah, there's ooze. Ooze is up there between water and earth. Yeah. So we'll eventually have primordials for most of that stuff. Some of them probably have gone to work for heaven, but this page will become much, much larger as we continue to expand on it, right? Yeah. Yeah, an elemental of vacuum. Yeah, scary. An absence elemental. An ooze dragon? Hell yeah. Yeah, so the way that it works is the hierarchy, right? If we do a general version of it, so there's like a primordial, and then a primordial breaks down into aspects, right? And then aspects have control over elementals, dragons, and cultists, right? So that's the structure, right? And then there's like obviously a bunch of aspects, and each aspect has dragons and elementals and stuff that it controls. So when you conjure an elemental, it's modified by, and the way it expresses itself is modified by whichever aspect that summons. So if you pray to Agni, you're going to get a different servitor than if you prayed to Novum, Vagon, or the Hearthkeeper, right? A fungus primordial? Yeah, right? Definitely. The fungus primordial might be a sub-aspect of this Gaia creature, right? Yeah. And then Imix, we know that Imix and Zaman-Ral are enemies. And Imix and then the water Archamental probably are enemies as well. Yeah. And then I guess technically Storm is our replacement for Lightning, right? And these are all lightning elementals and stuff. Bahoth and the cultists, they're not equal exactly. Like, these creatures have a relationship internally where, like, it probably goes, you know, with this distinction, it would be like dragons, cultists, and elementals. Right? And then... But it's not a direct relationship of control. It's just tiers, right? In that way. Yeah. So this is kind of how that's all shaken out right now. Tau T works for Heaven. Most of these ones don't, but Heaven also has dragons, cultists, and elementals, right? These are just the sort of free, these are the free primordials, the one that are still, like, Zaman-Ral is asleep, right? Zaman-Ral is chilling out. The Night Serpent only recently woke up. Gaia is asleep. Maharib is awake. Most of these things are awake because we've seen them, but there are a lot more that are sleeping. Who is the guy the orcs worship? Now, Ilnaval, that's different. So orc religion, God, I could do, recently, 10 or 15 years ago. Yeah, I could do another diagram just for orc religion, just for dwarf religion, because the dwarves have their own and the orcs have their own too, right? So like Ilnaval is part of a hero pantheon in which other orcish heroes exist, but they're a lot more like demigods, right? Ilnaval serves no one, but belongs to a kind of circle of a family of orcish, and I say deities, but I mean it in the loosest possible sense. Deities are, in this case, they're heroes, right? So they were former orcs that ascended to, their spirit became essentially they're bodhisattvas. Berg has a future as one of these, if he wants it. Yeah, there's no Bahamut, there's no Tiamat, there's no dragon god. Dragons serve either heaven or primordials, and so we've seen there are definitely void dragons and there are definitely heavenly dragons, and I think mostly the dragons that serve heaven are gold, silver, etc., right? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, someday, you know, we'll definitely come in and we'll build this out completely, and I'll do entities of heaven, entities of the void, primordials, the arcana, right? And how all of that stuff shakes out. Eventually I'll put all that stuff together. Are dragons just a species? They are a biological elemental, basically. So they're an elemental that either predominantly or exclusively has a physical form. Whereas gods, aspects, elementals, they are representations of like specific stuff, right? So like, for example, let's talk about like a mountain range, right? So here's Gaia, and then there's one of her aspects, which would be like Grandfather Mountain, right? And this would be an aspect of Gaia that represents mountains rather than like grasslands or valleys or whatever, right? So Grandfather Mountain is a very, very powerful, like Agni level aspect, right? So we've got Primordial. Primordial is served by several aspects. And then the aspects have probably Grandfather Mountain would have several mountains. So I guess technically Maharib is a servant, a very powerful elemental, a kind of dragon, if you like, that serves Grandfather Mountain, right? But in this case, Maharib was a single mountain in the desert, right? Called up by magic. Grandfather Mountain would also have servants who represent mountain chains. So there would be like there'd be like another god here. So it would be the archipelago god, right? Or something. So this would be god of a specific mountain or a specific set of mountains. And then they would have various hill and peak gods, right? And then under them, they would have probably like lesser deities depending on the size, but they would be served by communities of primordial worshipers, right? So in this case, we have like that. And what Vani is trying to do is supplant Bahath and put Bahath here and make this more the case, right? And I guess this would be backwards. We want to go that way. So that's what Vani is trying to do. If Vani and Ramus go to blows and she loses and Ramus lets her live, will she reflect on Ramus and Harmony? Maybe. Yeah, it might be possible to convert Vani and the Embers to a form of Harmony that includes Imix, but that's a big challenge. Yeah. Certainly possible, but yeah. So yeah, this is all setting material. This is all like, I only really need this. I already knew all this stuff, but it's nice to put it out in the world to kind of show you. And I know Ramus is becoming more and more like concerned about how all this stuff works. So yeah. Here, let's put Zark in this document and get rid of the other one. So Zark is an aspect of Gaia, I think. Yeah, just messing with the set dressing. Yep. Yeah, so here, you want me to color code these? Okay, so this, we can get rid of these. Get rid of this crap. And then we'll just put this up here. And they're forming little clusters. Little molecules. So, okay. What are my options for filling? There we go. And these guys. I think technically in Court of Swords, the earth color is white. So that doesn't really help much. So we'll make them gray. And then Zaman Ral. We got blue there. We got some lightning folks. And then obviously the Night Serpent. Super edgelord. You just need to fill it with like black. There we go. Are primordials and elementals different or related? Terminology wise, I guess like here, we'll put a little glossary. So okay, a god I don't want this to be middle. I want this to be like top. Anyway, this is not a text editor. Okay, a god is any entity composed primarily of spirit matter, right? They have no souls. They are their own souls. That's predominantly how you can tell. A primordial is an ancient and massively powerful god, representing an element. Water, air, etc. An aspect is a fragment of specifically anthropomorphized, I guess it's like human focused. They don't always have to be anthropomorphized. An aspect is a fragment of a specifically human focus element of a primordial. So the forge from fire, or lightning from storms. Okay, and then below that, dragons are merge spirit physical creatures who serve aspects of the primordials. Yeah, and then the term spirit can refer to any of these. I guess elementals. An elemental is all of these. Yeah, there you go. So all of those things are elementals. They're also gods, but in heaven, gods in heaven. So the gods of the bureaucracy are varyingly powerful and divided into bureaus, not elements, right? They range in power from the Arcana, the Guardians of the Arcana. I guess avatars of the Arcana. Essentially heaven primordials. Avatar's not the right word. Manifestations. Okay, they range in power from the manifestation of the Arcana down to least gods responsible for a single village or the like. Yeah, okay. Let's see here. Gods of the bureaucracy are not elementals. Yeah, so an elemental refers to a specific type of god. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Cool. Yeah. All makes sense to me. Neat. So yeah, obviously I'm ready for the next episode. We've got a bunch of like bonus lore stuff that was pretty fun to put together. I feel adequately prepped. I think that's all I need for now. I'm just gonna move a couple of files around. If you have questions, I'm down to answer them. The being asks, do gods need faith of others to exist? No, they do not. They're not like the gods of the Forgotten Realms. And in fact, prayer is really more like it's more of a deal than it is like asking for something. They want humans to adhere to specific, patterns, and those patterns strengthen the fountain. So it's more like heaven has said, behave this way. And the people of the world have said, okay, because they get benefits, right? But the gods don't need them necessarily, right? They don't make a deal. Priests, right? Clerics, wizards, their magic is the same. You've learned the magic of the language of the universe, and you use it to either cajole the gods or speak to the universe itself to conjure power. Right. Yeah. Sorcerers, they have a battery of fountain energy within them that they use to conjure power, right? That's power within rather than power without, but it works fundamentally the same way. And then episode 140, I already moved. Is there any other prep stuff I needed to? Oh yeah, that new Court of Swords doc that I just made. How powerful is Vani now? I don't know. Powerful enough to take on Ramus in one-on-one combat. So I don't know, maybe just like a very powerful druid or something. Yeah, like a fire druid maybe. I don't know. I haven't decided. It might not ever come to it. Where's my roleplay folder? There it is. Roleplay. Swords. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, right? How do druids factor in? They get their power from the primordials. Yeah. How would the Sahir guys becoming a god? I don't know if it was even possible. I don't know, like, they're pure hubris, so it's hard to say whether that would have ever actually worked or not. Yeah. Is there an overgod for the Court of Swords? No. There's a bureaucracy, and bureaucracy it's run by like a council of the arcana. Yeah. Would it be possible for a warlock to tap directly into the fountain? No, but a celestial warlock would have like a heavenly patron. Yeah. It'd be like a different way to relate to heaven's power. Yeah. Yeah. So you could have like a rebel Tianchi, or a particular god of heaven that gives you your power. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's it for Court of Swords. Thanks for coming and giving me a hand with that stuff, everybody. I'm excited to watch Kung Fu Maharib come into his own. That is going to be on Saturday during the normal Farverona time slot. We don't have a Farverona episode, so we're gonna do this 3-hour 1v1 karate Maharib thing. But if you're hurting for Farverona stuff, stick around. We're gonna bring the stream. I don't even have to bring it down. I'm gonna put up a timer. I'm gonna take 5. I'm gonna get a drink, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna do some Farverona game design stuff. I'm gonna try to finish the goals system today. So stick around if you want to see that. If you want to watch me do some game design. Otherwise, thanks for coming, and we will see you next time.